Hello, my name is Arnoldo Fernandez, and this is my video presentation on the separation argument, which asks the question if we're able to separate the art from the artist. Premise one states that if it is possible to morally separate the art from the artist. Let's talk about ethics real quick. Ethics is the part of philosophy, studies which actions are morally right or wrong. Going back to the premise, if we're able to morally separate, let's also talk about psychological separation. Psychological separation is the ability to think about or experience art without also thinking of the artist. If we're able to psychologically separate how we feel about an artist's art and our feelings toward the artist, whether we like them or not. If it's, you know, it is possible to morally separate the art from the artist. Um, we understand that the claim that the moral status of the art is not determined by the moral status of the artist. And moral status is basically, according to lectures, like a moral charge, like based on a charge. So, kind of like a spectrum of, good, morally bad, wherever. The moral status is what it lies on in that spectrum of morally good, morally bad. Um, yeah, if that is possible to morally separate the art from the artist, that leads us to premise two. If it is possible to morally separate the art from the artist, then it is morally permissible to engage with the art of immoral artists. So, immoral artists are artists who have done a number of bad things that we can really classify them as bad people. Just Yeah, someone that I can think of as an immoral artist, Kanye West. Engagement. So, in talking about engagement in the context of a music artist, that'd be through supporting them by buying their albums, by playing their music, listening to them at parties, just promoting them in any sort of way. That would be engagement with the art. Um, Again, stating if it is possible to morally separate the art from the artist, then it is morally permissible to engage with the art of immoral artists. Morally permissible, just basically saying that it's not morally wrong to do. And so that's what premise two is really saying, that it's okay to consume art from immoral artists. So that leads us to the conclusion of this argument. Therefore, it is morally permissible to engage with the arts of immoral artists. So just thinking that if we're able to morally separate art, then it's possible to morally separate art from the artist. And that makes it morally permissible. And then, we shouldn't feel bad about engaging in the art. That's basically what it's saying. That's basically what the argument is. Because there's no reason not to engage with the art, because there's no moral right or wrong. If you're engaging with the art, if you're able to separate your feelings towards the art, let's say you feel positive about the art but not so positive about the artist, then there's no harm in engaging with that art. It makes it morally permissible for you to engage with the art in question, regardless of the artist's moral status. Um, However, there is an objection. And so the objection to this argument is really against premise number two. And according to the lecture, this is called the does not follow objection. If there is a possible scenario where we separate the moral status of the art from the immoral artist, and that's the big thing, that's conditional if we're able to separate it, but if there's still some wrong that engage when we engage with art. And so basically, if I reiterate that, it's if we engage with art, regardless of the moral status, that the engagement will still lead to other things that are bad. So an example of that is, let's say we're trying to enjoy something, or we're trying to enjoy, a movie, and watching the movie. However, us just trying to enjoy the movie, regardless of how we feel about the artist, the director in question, we are funding their pockets to commit more crimes in the future. That's the objection to this argument.